Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, but today I'm not going to translate. I'm going to talk about forgiveness. And yes, it is taken from the Bible. The Bible says we should forgive 70 times 7, and sometimes as Christians we feel that people take advantage of us with regard to forgiveness. And how often do you forgive somebody when you're being ill-treated, mistreated, abused, taken advantage of? How often do you give the other cheek? So, what is forgiveness, first of all? Sometimes people think forgiveness is about letting people get away with stuff. If they say sorry, you forgive them. They go off and do it again, you forgive them, and they keep doing the same thing. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean you bring somebody into your life so that they can take advantage and they can do the same thing over and over again. Only God has grace to do that, to keep forgiving people. As human beings, we have to forgive them in a different way. We could forgive them in a way that's healthy for us. And how do we do that? We do that by actually releasing it. So they don't even have to know that you've forgiven them. But you know that you've forgiven them. So if you've got somebody who is being unkind and constantly berating you or, dismissing you or just totally neglecting or abusing you and basically making you feel like crap, you have to decide, number one, to release them. That is, they get on with their lives, you get on with yours, but you don't hold them up for it. Sometimes when people leave relationships and you hear them talking about their exes, they're so bitter and angry. That's because they haven't forgiven them. And they haven't forgiven them, and that means they're unable to move on because that hostility will extend itself into a subsequent relationship. You really need to say to yourself when somebody hurts you, I'm better than this, I deserve better treatment, I deserve respect, I deserve kindness, and I deserve love. This person isn't showing me any of those things. So therefore, I have to accept that this person is maybe not capable of showing those kind of feelings, maybe through his or her past. And therefore, because they cannot show me what I need or they cannot demonstrate basic love and care, it means that they are not good for me. So therefore, I accept that this is the way they are. I accept that they may not change, but I need to change my relationship with them. So I forgive them, they can move on, and I will move out, or whatever it is that you choose to do. What forgiveness is about, releasing yourself of the burden of being angry and hurt when somebody hurts you. And it's easier said than done. Because when somebody really betrays you and your heart has been broken and you're feeling so much pain and anguish, it's really hard to say, and then they're saying, oh, I'm sorry. And especially if you love them, it's really hard not to bring them back in, especially if you're caught up into one of these trauma bonding relationships, one of these relationships where the person, when they've hurt you, they love bomb you, and so it makes you forget the hurt that they've given you, and so you keep forgiving them, and it's not until it happens again that you remember. And so this is a different kind of forgiveness. This is a forgiveness where you know you've been hurt and you know you've been damaged. And each time it happens, you write it down so that when they come back and say they're sorry, you can say, well, you said you're sorry on this date, on this date, on this date, and I forgave you. I'm not going to forgive you anymore. Well, I am going to forgive you this time, but I'm not going to accept you back in my life anymore. The only way you accept them back in your life if you see that they make a conscious resolve to change their ways. And some people find it difficult. They get into such a habit of treating people the way they do. That is just who they are. And if it's not compatible with your values and your morals and the way you want to be treated, you have to accept that this person is not healthy in your life and that they have to move on. When Jesus talks about forgiving 70 times 7, he doesn't mean you have to keep forgiving endlessly, because 70 times is a lot. It's about being generous with your forgiveness, and it is about showing grace, but only to a degree, not to the point where it's abusive, not to a point where they're taking you for granted. So what I've got to say here is that when you're thinking about forgiveness, try to look at it from the perspective of, how do I feel when this person does this to me? Can I take it? Can I keep taking it? Am I okay with it? And if it's something that's quite minor and you can dismiss it, you don't like it, but it's something that you can say to them, look, I really don't like the fact that you went behind my back and said this or that, whatever it is. Please don't do that again. Or sometimes it's about infidelity. I don't like the fact that you started dating your colleague at work, or in some cases my best friend, or in some cases my sister. I don't know how I'm going to trust you, but I'm going to try to trust you. I'm going to give you another chance to prove that you can be trusted. You said you can be trusted. So I'm going to give you another chance. Please don't let me down. I'll forgive you this once. Next time, I'll forgive you this once and I'll take you back. But next time, I'll forgive you, but I won't take you back. There's a difference with forgiveness where you allow yourself to be constantly abused and where you actually draw the line and say, look, the buck stops here. I'm not going to put up with this kind of treatment anymore. So, for those of you who are in a situation where you feel quite taken advantage of because you keep forgiving and you have somebody in your life that keeps hurting you and abusing you, and you think because you're a Christian you have to tolerate it, no, you don't. You don't have to tolerate it. There are different meanings to turning your other cheek. And even when you turn your other cheek, there's something in the Bible that counteracts that. And it's about speaking up as well. Speaking up about when people hurt you or do something bad or disrespect you. A lot of people, they don't say anything. They just think, I'm not going to say anything because it's going to cause conflict. And so it keeps repeating itself. So all I'm saying, peeps, is that you make sure that if you are being abused or neglected or whatever it is, that you deal with it in a way that's comfortable for you, that is safe for you, and that you make sure that when you forgive yourself in a way that is healthy for you. And I think I'm going to stop here. I hope this makes sense. That's all for now. Bye-bye.